Hi, my name is Daisy Baker, and for the leadership video assignment, I have chosen to cover the situational approach leadership theory, which can be found on page 93 of our leadership textbook. The basic concept of this theory is that in different situations, there has to be a demand for different kinds of leadership. I chose this concept because it makes the most sense to me, as I feel that in different situations, you have to take a different approach. The focus of this theory is mostly on the leader. It requires them to adapt their leadership style to the demands of their followers. And the theory was first developed by Hersey and Blanchard in 1969, and it was based on Vedden's 1967 3D management style theory. It's also been refined and revised several times since it's been accepted. The first thing a leader has to do is evaluate his or her followers. By doing this, they can assess their competency and commitment to their assigned goals. A leader should also be sure to change their approach based on the changing needs of their followers. There is a model called the SLI model, which outlines different types of leaderships and developmental needs of their followers. To determine the leadership style needed using the SLI model, the leader has to figure out if the followers need more directive behaviors or supportive behaviors. Directive behaviors usually involve a one-way communication where a leader tells their followers what has to be done, how it has to be done, and who has to do it. Supportive behaviors focus more on helping group members feel comfortable about themselves, include things like praising, talking about themselves, asking for input, and listening to their followers. Using their model, the leadership can determine whether they are to use any of the 4 categories of leadership. The 4 categories are called delegating, supporting, coaching, and directing. Delegating is a low supportive, low directive style, and the approach the leader offers less input on goal achievement and social support, and they leave the controls to the followers without any intervention. Supporting style is a high supportive, low directive style. This one uses supportive behaviors to bring out the follower's skills in order to do things like accomplish the goal without focusing exclusively on the goals. And then you have coaching style, which is a high directive, high supportive style. You want to think of this more like a sports coach. They focus on meeting goals and their followers' emotional needs. The leader is required to involve his or herself with their followers by giving encouragement and support. And then you have directing, which is made up of high directive and low supportive behavior. It's basically how the title states, you're a director. The leader has to focus on goal achievement, and they give instructions on what has to be done and how it will be achieved. Then the situational approach has many strengths. One of them is that it's practical. The situational leadership model is really easy to understand, and it's even easier to implement. The approach also has value and purpose. Other theories we have read about, they're more descriptive, where this one is more prescriptive. This means that the approach tells you which style you should use depending on each situation. One last strength is that it's very flexible. The approach is all about change and adaptability. Unlike other approaches, you want to make sure that you're adapting your style depending on your follower's style, which actually tends to change over time. On the other hand, the situational approach does have some criticisms. The major one that I found is that only a few research studies have been done in order to justify the claims. The approach has been mentioned in dissertations, but most of the studies were not actually published. Despite this, the theory has been used in consulting because it has a very easy concept to follow, as I've said before. It's pretty straightforward and practical. It can also be applied at most levels, whether you're at the CEO level or all the way down to a production worker. I feel as if it's important to take both goals and the social emotional state of followers into consideration, which is why I agree with and I chose this approach. Every situation is different, and this is one of the more flexible approaches that we've learned about. And this concludes my analysis on the situational approach. Thank you.